Hello and welcome to 3 Minute Gaming. I'm Nathan, and today I'm going to tell you if this game's their time and bandwidth.
Today's game is Deadpool. Before Ryan Reynolds, Nolan was Deadpool in this 2013 action game. Is this a long delisted gem, or should it be left forgotten? Let's find out. Deadpool was a PS3 and Xbox 360 action game that was also on the PS4 and Xbox One as it came out near the console generational shift. And as mentioned, has been delisted thanks to rights hell. So if you want to play it today, the only way is to get a physical copy. You play as Deadpool, voiced by Nolan, who voiced every game this era, who in his usual meta ways contacts High Moon Studios to make a game about himself, and then makes edits to the script along the way. The short version is Sinister is up to his usual tricks to mess with the X-Men, so Deadpool teams up with some delisters to take him out. If you enjoy comic Deadpool, you will probably love this, as the Merc with a Mouth has plenty of its crass, meta-breaking, sarcastic humor over the entirety of the game. The game also pokes fun at its genre, video games in general, those who play video games and read comic books, and more across its short run time, often to comedic results. The game itself is very much of the PS360 era, with it being essentially a mashy hack and slash with some third-person shooting as a bonus. Deadpool can equip up to 3 melee weapons and 4 guns, most of which have to be unlocked, and each has its own combos using the usual light and heavy attacks to slice and dice. Combos are a core element here, as well you'll get some XP, or DP, which is Deadpool points and probably not that other thing, for killing enemies. Long combo chains become a multiplier for bonus XP, which get that number high enough and you can have some massive windfalls. Deadpool has no concept of blocking or cover, and aggression is your core method of interaction, but thankfully most upgrades add things like life when you achieve high combos, and you also have a dedicated teleport dodge that doubles as a counter. In the most basic sense, levels are structured similarly, often with Deadpool needing to work his way through various combat arenas in a linear path, usually with some light platforming. The game does go out of its way to make each set piece interesting, however, be it jumping around in a giant sentinel's boot, exploring a Legend of Zelda dungeon, playing some 2D Mario, or sneaking around in some light stealth, and of course some turret sections as was the style at the time. And really, that's Deadpool, a fairly standard action game in terms of gameplay, but augmented by a never-ending series of jokes and quips by its main character, as it should be because this is, a Deadpool game. So what did I like about Deadpool? Well, if you like the character Deadpool, Nolan is definitely having an absolute blast going all in on his trademark snark. This game pretty much nails his personality, top to bottom, and the commentary never ends. Additionally, combat is generally pretty good, with kills visceral, and stringing combos together satisfying. And lastly, there's a surprising amount of set-piece variety, from light puzzles to platforming, to a few gimmicky stages that keep the momentum and pacing brisk all the way until the very end. When it comes to the bad, this is probably a big duh, but if you don't enjoy Deadpool's irreverent and often intentionally grating sense of humor, this game is not going to convince you otherwise. It is for fans, so if you find Deadpool obnoxious, you will hate this game. Additionally, while the combat is visceral and satisfying, it never really evolves much in terms of how you take out enemies, and the limited enemy variety doesn't help, with the game feeling really mashy really quickly. And lastly, this has some BS difficulty and enemy spawns that seem to pop up in AA games of this era. Things like enemies blocking too often make combat less fun, those lightning guys can go right to hell, combat sometimes don't execute when you need them, and just overall lacking precision that it feels like it would need on its higher difficulties. As you know, I rate games here on a 3-point scale, must play, maybe consider, and don't bother. And I'm gonna be honest, as someone who only kind of likes Deadpool, I didn't have high expectations for this game, but I ended up having a ton of fun with it. While not all the jokes land, they're certainly on brand, and Nolan clearly loving playing this character is infectious. It has that sort of weird visceral enjoyment of games of this era, enough that I played through it multiple times. So if you're a fan of Deadpool, I highly recommend going out of your way to get a physical copy before their price skyrockets even higher, as this is a great little game that definitely does Deadpool justice. That's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. If you played or even heard of this Deadpool game, I remember when it released and people were talking about how it was like some hidden gem, but then no one talked about it ever again. But with the movie's popularity, I feel like people are looking back on this game as they should. So let me know what you think about it in the comments, and regardless, go out there and if you can get a copy, play yourself some Deadpool.